Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to CharismaToAC. We're playing Masks: A New Generation. Now, I am, of course, Daniel, your humble game master, and here with me are a bunch of lovely nerdlings, although we are one short today. Unfortunately, Thalmud is not here to join us. However, I am still joined by Joan.
Hello, and that's a damn lie. You're not humble.
Yes, I am. Shut up. I am the humblest. I am the humblest. I will have you know, no one is as humble as I. Of all y'all, I am up here, okay? You scrubs, all of you, also you, viewing audience, you're down here. I'm up here. That is how humble I am. So just get out. You're not humble enough to be near me.
That has to be the best humble brag I've ever heard.
Hi, Joan. Welcome to the game. I am also joined by Brain.
No. Hello.
And I'm joined by Rasmus. Last but not least, we are of course joined by AJ. Yes, we are. Don't let
opposing.
Don't let her fool
Silence.
you. Don't let her fool you. She's here.
Yes.
No, I'm not. Shit.
Alright, everyone, so we're here to play some Masks, of course. Now, it's been a little while, but I think everyone knows
What
where
is
we ended
Masks
up.
exactly? I don't know.
Well, Masks, Brain, thank you for asking, is a game about teenage superheroes coming to terms with their own identity and having the world and how the world speaks to them and of them reflect off themselves.
Oh, yeah.
So,
All the angst.
Can I play as Miley Cyrus, who's playing Hannah Montana, dealing with something new for the first time?
yes, you can.
That's not a superhero, though.
I mean, it could be.
Oh, but she's a superstar. Doesn't that count?
Oh, unless, of course, you count that prehensile tongue of hers.
So, now that we've gone there, Masks is of course a game about playing teenage superheroes in a game where superheroes have existed for a while in the world, which is our world, our planet Earth, set in the fictional city Halcyon City, somewhere on the American continent. We have this group of teenage superheroes going toe-to-toe with evil and criminals for the betterment and veracity of all of Halcyon City and hopefully beyond. So, let's have an introduction of our characters, shall we? Let's start at the top. That would be
Nah.
Diamond.
Why don't we start from the right? We've
Nah.
never done that before.
Because if we started from the right, then we would just have to start from the left twice over.
Exactly. That would also be new.
No.
My head hurts.
Hello, Joan. Will you tell us about Diamond?
Okay. Diamond is using the playbook called the Bull, meaning that she is the Hulk, the Thing, Colossus, and Captain Britain all rolled into one. And as you can probably tell from that, I'm a Marvel fan, not a DC one. That said, she is her labels. I think we should go over, right?
Sure.
Go over her labels.
Talk
She's
about
got
how
a
you see yourself.
yeah, she's got a freak of 1, danger of 3, savior of -2, superior of 2, and a mundane of nothing. And currently, she's got a grand smacking total of 4 conditions.
That's
She
not a few.
she
Whoa.
is afraid, angry, guilty, and insecure. So
At least she's not
yes.
hopeless. I complete you.
Well, if we are to believe some of our listeners who are already shipping the two, then yeah.
There are listeners who are shipping the two already.
AJ,
Why have I not heard of this?
I don't know that you're aware of this, but this thing we're doing here, it actually goes on the internet. And when things go on the internet, within the first 5 minutes of character creation, someone will have shipped something. So,
Yep.
Oh. What is this internet you talk about?
Yeah, it's the
you don't
weirdest.
actually have to know about that.
It's a series of tubes.
it's
For my American listeners out there, Pop quiz. What senator said that?
Let's not actually.
Can we not?
You don't need to know about the internet. It is a silly place.
It is.
Very silly,
Pop quiz?
actually.
It's silly.
Thank you for tuning in to CharismaToAC. Okay, good. So that's Diamond. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your special move, the Bull's Heart?
Yeah, the Bull's Heart is the bull is let's just say an emotional sort. Who has strong opinions on others, and in this case, it means that she's got a love relationship. Amazingly enough, with Starlight, it's a friendly relationship. They're not actually a couple. They're just very good friends.
Not if you ask the internet, apparently.
Not if you ask the internet, but the internet doesn't count.
Look, Plato can eat it, okay?
No, I'm not going there. We are talking about a robot. No eating, please. She also has a rival.
Hello, master. I was built for pleasure.
She also has a rival, and that would happen to be Finn's mother, Palla, whom she detests with a furious passion.
New character idea right there.
And she is what's called an enabler relationship with her, meaning that she can really pick Palla off and make her do really, really stupid things.
I'm very happy we've already had such a delightful positive impact on everyone.
Yes, isn't it just fantastic?
We'll eventually get to AJ when she's caught her breath.
I am a horrible, horrible human being, but then again, I say that in pretty much every single recording we do. So
that's fine, and it's we're all grown ups here. It's not like we have way too much fun with the notion of being fully functional and anatomically correct. So, anyway, next one in this particular lineup would be Finn, also called Finnovar, but we basically know him as Vigil. So,
Yes.
why don't you tell us about yourself?
Well, hello there. I am playing Finn, who is of the Legacy playbook. It's a playbook that deals with responsibility to your family, organization, or therefore, bloodline, whatever you want to call it. And he is the latest one of the organization / his family of arcane Arthurian knights thing called the Vigil. That's what the Vigil comes. And he is currently a very emotionally stable member of the team, surprisingly enough. And his labels are currently Freak at 0, Danger at 0, Savior locked at 2, Superior at 0, and Mundane at 2. Also, his conditions are very few, meaning 1, and it is hopeless.
All right. What about you, Starlight? Have you caught your breath? Are you okay, AJ?
I think we may need to give her another few moments.
Yeah, let's give her some time.
When you get, I am almost choking on laughter. It usually takes a little while for her to be able to talk afterwards.
In fairness, that's the case with most people when you get to the point where you're choking on your laughter. That's yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Oh, that's
the problem was that I had taken a mini cookie and started crunching it, meaning I were choking on the cookie while laughing.
That's
yeah.
So suddenly I had crumbs in my lungs, and it was not that fun.
Oh, that sounds painful.
I'm glad everything seemed to sort itself out.
I'm okay though. I took one for the team.
Yes.
Are you okay to tell us about Starlight?
Sure. Even though if we ask the internet, I don't need to. They already know her in and out. I'm sure.
No doubt.
We don't
Anyway.
we don't need to know about the ins and the outs.
Ew.
I mean, I reckon that opinion would be contested vividly.
Well, possibly, but then again, I might as well keep at it. I've already started with the innuendo.
Right, she's the Nova. And I've forgotten. Oh, right, character sheet is there. I was looking for another tab inside the character sheet. Yes. And she is wielding cosmic power and cosmic energies. It's not that dangerous at all, especially when you're Nova and don't have any ideas of what the fuck you're doing. She is up to 3 conditions again. Guilty, insecure, and hopeless. At least she's not angry or afraid. That's something, I guess.
We are such an emotionally balanced group.
Her freak is back up to 2. Her danger is at 2. It's never moved since she got it to 2. A savior of 0, a superior of 0, and a mundane of -1. So things are like it used to do, or used to be.
Yay.
All right.
Yay!
Thank
And
you very
her
much.
relationships, because we always forget to talk about relationships.
We do.
Yes. Well, she hurt poor Sparrow
It's true.
some time ago, and she used to hang out with Nightshade
Yeah.
to blow up steam. Yes.
All right. And last but certainly not least, White Sparrow.
Yes, my character, White Sparrow, is an Eurasian tree sparrow, or Passamontanus, of the Doom playbook. She is female. She told Starlight, and I suppose now Diamond, all about her doom and the danger she's in. She would like to, like team up.
She would like to.
This is the nature of the thing that's threatening you. You actually have Satan coming for you. That's
Yes. She would like to give Nightshade a peck before her doom comes.
I
And
am so happy that was in English and not in Danish.
Yeah.
and she knew.
Please.
So unprofessional!
it's the worst. Rasmus, just the worst. Just
know.
quiet your
Turn off your
devices.
phone.
Nah, I'm on push to talk, so that's probably going to be okay.
At least it got my joke and laughed at it.
She knew him, Nightshade, before he donned the mask, and he knew her, presumably from when she hatched.
Let's hope, otherwise she was a stalker.
Oh, that could have been interesting.
Yeah, it could. I have no idea who you are, but why are you looking at me like that?
Senpai, please.
Notice me, senpai.
Her labels are a freak of -1, a danger of -2, a savior of +3, and I want to look that at that whenever I get the chance, a superior of +2, and a mundane of 1. And she currently has 1 condition, and she is guilty of having brainwashed her parents, among other things.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, and you, of course,
Among
have
other things.
you have a special condition for your doom signs. What triggers your doom signs?
Nesting and laying eggs.
Of course. How silly of me.
What is the airspeed of an unladen swallow?
I don't know. Is it white?
I don't know. Ah!
That's racist. So, what is the actual triggers for your doom sign?
Harming innocence and talking about it in any shape or form.
Talking
basically.
about harming innocents?
Yeah. Yes, talking about harming innocence is just a
The
no-go.
worst.
It's just you just said harming innocents and talking about it. All right?
I do think, though, I mean, yeah, but I have to say, by the way, I think she's not actually White Sparrow anymore. She's more like Mottled Sparrow by now, isn't she?
All she needs is some brown, and she'll look like a sparrow, I guess.
She's a Palmino sparrow.
All right, sorry, I should not interrupt. I'm bad, and
No, it's all right.
all
I'm
right.
still
I'm
sad.
now officially very ashamed of myself.
No, I will be ashamed after I say this. Since she's red and white, she must be a Danish sparrow. I'll go in the corner now. Bye.
It's quite all right. I'm still sad that no one caught that I referred to her as an actual bird.
Yeah, everyone did, I think. Just no one's acknowledging your attempt there.
No.
I wouldn't know. Diamond is asexual.
All right, so your characters, superhero teenagers that they be, when we find you in conflict, because last time on Halcyon City Defenders, you lots had, well, you had some conversations, you talked some stuff through, the girls and the boys both, before winding up at a rally, at a press conference, so to speak, where the deputy mayor of Halcyon City talked about an initiative to get young supers special training so that they can probably wield their powers.
Boo hiss boo.
Yes, lots of government oversight. However, while this was happening, someone tried to mess with this group by driving a truck into it. This was stopped by a local superhero, but while that person was taking credit for what had been done and making sure everyone was okay, you lot spied a shadow slinking out of the unconscious driver and disappearing into the nearby park, which, like, Champion Park it's called.
There is an echo.
There is.
There is?
Yes.
Damn.
It is, let's see, it's from...
It's me.
Yeah. Alright. So, Shadow slinked out of the driver and disappeared into Champion Park, which is just across the road from the City Hall, where this press conference was being held. Now, as you followed the shadow as it vanished into the park, you spied it attach itself to a young girl, who then just moved on as if nothing else had happened. While you were tracking her, or following her, a nearby explosion happened somewhere outside of the park, somewhere in Halcyon. Clearly something is going on. The girl seemed to know this was coming because she was pleased at it. And you approached her while she sat down to wait for something, or as it turns out, someone. And just as you were engaged in a conversation, trying to fish something or anything out of essentially her handler arrived, saw through your attempts at disguising yourself, and made to leave. But at that point, it was go time, and you found yourself embroiled in conflict with two witches. So as we come in on Halcyon City and this particular issue of Halcyon City Defenders, we see the scorched battle zone of Champion Park, where you are currently engaged in this confrontation. There are like scorch marks bursting outwards from the area where the witches have been fighting, and nearby trees, shrubbery, and grass is like on fire with a weird, like, crackling purplish hue. Casts a surreal light on the situation, and in the middle of this battle zone, the two witches are currently entrapped in a force field maintained by Starlight, while Nightshade and Diamond both are, like, surrounding it, preparing to do something or anything. And outside of another barrier, this one made of a smokish, blackish light, we have White Sparrow and Finnoa dueling the disembodied shadow of the younger witch that is transmuting and shapeshifting and being generally awful and violent. So, we come in on this situation. We have a couple of like establishing shots to establish where we are and what we're doing. And the first image we see that isn't clearly an establishing shot is a 2D perspective drawing showing the inside and the outside of the force field that Starlight has erected, and spying the witch like dragging a nail, the older witch, the one with red curls and suit, dragging a manicured nail across the inside of the force field, looking pensive and seeming to think about how to get out. Or maybe something else. And then on the other side of that force field, we see you guys looking in. You currently seem to have them at your mercy. That may or may not be the case, as far as you're aware. But the question becomes one of, what do you do?
Well, we
Dance battle.
What?
Dance battle.
No, but maybe not, but certainly battle, because we still need to get a hold of them. Or am I completely incorrect in this, guys?
I forgot.
Yeah, we probably have to get them for questioning what the hell they were doing. Well, why they were doing what.
Well, as I remember it, Diamond was trying to break through the force field that they had erected.
Yeah, you also succeeded at doing so, I think.
Yeah.
You are now within... We basically have a case of nested force fields here. We have an outer force field, which is of her creation, and now an interior one that is trapping the two of them.
Yeah. And...
Didn't I make a force field as well?
Yep, there were 3 force fields in all. We've been mentioning that a few times over the weeks. But yeah, well, in that case, Diamond is obviously in there with them. Am I correct in that, or?
Red Sparrow, your force field is less of a field and more of a, like, you were, creating like little screens to block where she threw these like disintegrating balls of dark magic, but which she has stopped doing now, so.
Guess she used all her mana.
Meh. Guess so. Yeah, I guess if does that mean that I am in there with them?
No.
No, I'm between 2 force fields, aren't I?
Yes, you are. Yeah. You are between hers and Starlight's.
Yeah. Well, I still want to get through hers.
I think so. You're already within her force field.
But that's what I meant. Am I in there with her, with the 2 of them?
No.
No.
The interior force field trapping them is of Starlight's making.
We should make a drawing.
We could do that.
Yeah, I think that may be because I'm slightly confused. But okay, you're saying that there's an interior force field that is holding them.
So
and Starlight
here is a pink force field to represent the force field that the witch created.
Yes.
And here is a yellow one to represent the barrier that Starlight has erected. And the witches are within the yellow line, and you 3 are within the pink line.
Okay, no problem. I think... Well, we could conceivably hold them there for a very, very long time, but that's not really going to do much good. Because, then what? Are they just going to, stay in there for the next 300 years while we keep the force field in place?
Also, there's a shadow outside murdering Vigil.
Yeah, there is.
I think it was the other way around, but...
That's not so important.
Well, I think the main thing is then that Diamond needs to go and help her teammates, so she needs to go and help Vigil. So,
very good.
And that means getting through the pink force field that they have erected, correct?
Yes.
Good. All right. then that's the objective.
All right. So you move to get out of here.
Yes.
How do you do that?
I do that by going to. I'm going to go to one of the corners.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, I was lagging.
Oh, right. Can I?
Continue.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to make sure. I'm going to go to one of the corners. And try to see if it's weaker at the corners, because I tried beating my way through one of the open or one of the long flat sides.
Yeah,
I'm going to see if I can tear my way through one of the corners instead.
Sure thing. Let's see. This sounds like you are assessing your situation.
Yeah, it does actually. That makes sense. Let me see. Assess the situation.
You roll plus superior when you assess your situation.
Yes. I just needed to open my character sheet. There we go. Say it.
Let's get this thing going. There we go. Yeah, we got a hit. So you get to ask me a question.
How do I best get out of this using my strength?
So yeah, how can you get out of this using your strength?
Mm-hmm.
The force field is not really typically subject to laws of thermodynamics or
weak points or anything.
Yeah. However, it strikes you that the best way of getting out of this is with a like an opposing force, like was the case when Starlight popped through it, like some kind of a energy to offset this energy.
Yeah, because I managed to make a small crack in it and pull it open, but nowhere near enough for me to get through. So
yeah, the thing that happened when you were about to get through, it always resealed itself. But then Finn shot an arrow at it, from his magic bracers, which counteracted it. In the same way, the way to stop it from constantly reassessing itself is to offset its fluctuation with another energy source.
I have an idea then. Diamond looks over at Sparrow, because at the moment the yellow circle in there, the inner force field, was being maintained by Starlight, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So I look over at Sparrow and say, if I can make a crack in this thing, can you widen the breach?
I can try.
Make a wedge or something.
Yeah, I'll give it a go.
Sure. Well, in that case, that's what I do. I managed to make a crack in it before, so, and then if we can insert a wedge and then force it open, then...
Yeah, absolutely.
And we know that she can make these light constructs or psychic constructs in all manner of funky shapes, so...
Absolutely. So, when you go to employ your psychic construct here, you shoot energy at the thing and try and twist it and bend it in that shape you do. Right, so we see the energies roll off you as you do your thing. Why don't we have you roll to unleash your powers to see if you can overcome the obstacle of this barrier? And Diamond, since you are punching and tearing on the inside, feel free to pour a team into that if it can help you.
Yeah.
That's probably good because I'm not very freaky.
No, you don't feel particularly isolated.
So I add a +1?
Yeah.
Well,
no, not yet. It depends.
No, there's no point in me putting a what's it called, a team into that, because it's still going to be a miss.
Yes. Also, it didn't add the +1.
Excellent.
Oh, so it would be a 6?
Yeah, 6 is still a miss, though, isn't it?
Yeah, yes. But then if I put a team into it...
No, I shouldn't add a +1.
Okay, I'm just completely confused.
It's okay. If you were to add a team here, it would bump it to 6.
Yes.
Oh wait, it did add the +1, because my normal modifier is -1 and it's just at 0. So.
All right, no problem. Well, in that case,
it's actually a 4.
I didn't actually want to use as I said, because no point. Sure. Well,
So you like pull at the barrier, and you're aware, like, as you extend your psychic energies into it, that this thing is constantly changing and adapting, probably under her influence on the inside, to kind of like offset what is coming at it from the outside. And you're aware, White Sparrow, in this moment, that you cannot wedge this thing open just using your energies, unless you activate your special powers. Unless you use your doom signs.
My special powers.
Even more special powers.
Well, if you do that, won't you take more doom signs?
Yes.
I would.
Yeah.
That's
That's a bad idea. There is also the option of dropping the inner, or either dropping the inner shield and letting me at the two assholes in there,
Starlight.
or
Greeting.
That's still Starlight.
yeah, but that's the point, is that would be an alternative.
But yeah, what is your decision, White Sparrow?
Well, this doesn't feel like a desperate enough moment for that.
Hard cut to Finn jumping for his life as the shadow swings a distended claw and tears up the pavement, barely missing him.
Yeah.
I can't.
No, it's all right. Starlight.
You're muted, AJ. Oh, well, we'll just... so while we wait for AJ to return, the shadow swings a distended claw. Finn, you jump, barely escaping with your life. What do you do as the shadow gives chase?
So he's other like Starlight. It like Shadow is adamant of chasing me.
Come again?
I see that Shadow is adamant at chasing me.
Well, currently it seems to be engaged with you, yeah. It's just, like it's crawled off of the hand of the younger witch that you ensnared.
But it's like, I mean, it seems focused on me.
Yeah, because you're fighting it and it's trying to murder you. Yeah.
And I've seen them trying to get out of the field.
They don't seem to be trying to get out of the field. The younger witch is like messing with your bola and trying.
Well,
to get out of it.
I mean Diamond and.
Starlight. Yeah.
Not Starlight, Diamond and Sparrow.
Yes.
So Finn is like, okay, so so they got. Yeah, it worked once. It will work twice. What he wants to do is he wants to break through the field himself. Like, still monster chase it. I know, like, monster will be on my tail, but like he will try to just break them out of the field, even taking hits during.
Sure. Why don't we see if you can manage that? Give us a roll to unleash your powers.
And I will actually try to wield my powers.
Take the -1 on this for the barrier having adapted.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, unleash.
Okay.
He wanted to wield...
Can I use my wield my powers?
With precision and grace?
Well, yeah. I can describe you exactly how I want to do it.
Yeah, I would need that, especially since you are currently like in a desperate flight situation.
Yeah. So he still haven't been hit, and like the shadow is big and scary, but like haven't harmed him yet. So he's like Finn is fairly confident in what he's doing. And he's seen like what was working before. So like point arcane force plus impact force. Make breach in the field before. So what he wants to do, he wants to vault away from the shadow. He wants to project another, like one of those big arrows, but this time like more like the one that will last a little bit longer when it impacts the thing. And after the arrow impacts the thing, he wants to switch out the weapons into a big hammer, and basically use the arrow as like a chisel, and just smash it into the force field, trying to shatter it.
Like a wedge, basically. He wants to hammer a wedge into the force field, and the wedge is the arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that does sound pretty precise.
It doesn't at all to me, but I'll take it. So roll to wield your powers.
Still at -1, or
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So you attempt to do the thing. You try and line up, and it's not like you're failing to do the thing, right? It's not like, oh, you tried it and it didn't succeed. It's that you can't line it up. You're trying to do something that requires like precision, training, and mastery that you've never tried before. So you don't even have the moment to like slow down or like focus on doing this thing, as long as this thing is on top of you, and it just moves with like tireless persistence as it comes at you. You always have to vault and jump and get away from this thing because it just persists. And I reckon,
Okay.
I reckon that in this case, when you barely manage to leap out of the way, and it scoops in a wide swing with its claw, some of the detritus that is like tearing up, and some of the flagstones of the ground like hurl through the air upon the impact, and like one like a sharp piece of brick like hits you in the head, and you get like a cut across your forehead.
Mm-hmm.
You like vaguely disoriented for a moment. White Sparrow, what are you doing?
Shouldn't we ask Starlight now that she's back?
No. I wanna draw the attention to you. So because you're the one on the outside of the field while this is happening, you're the one in a position to assist your teammate. So
That is true.
We see what you do in response to this, and then we'll see what happens on the inside afterwards.
Well, I mean, there's no reason to stop deflecting things, so I think I'll defend Vigil.
Yeah. What will you defend him from?
Didn't you get hit with stuff?
Yeah, but he's already been hit with stuff.
Oh, already. Well, in that case, that won't work. In that case, I want to ensnare the shadow.
All right. Cool. What does that look like?
I think it looks like Sparrow looking at the barrier that she failed to dismantle, then her head jerking as she realizes or hears that Vigil gets hit, and then she turns around, and in that motion kind of almost drags her hand along the ground and towards the shadow as roots shoot from the ground to entangle it. Of course, roots made of the same white construct stuff.
Of the Kirby crackle we see every time you use your powers. Yeah. Cool. Let's have you roll to do that. That sounds like you're unleashing your powers to change your landscape or imprison this thing. Do you reckon that's the case? Or are you directly engaging it?
No, I think unleash to imprison sounds more like it.
Let's see if that's the case. I'm just gonna question my own judgment here. When you unleash your powers to overcome an obstacle, reshape your environment, or extend your senses.
Reshape your environment. I mean,
I could see that. So in this case, it would be to you want to reshape your environment to temporarily like entrap this thing and give Finn some breathing room.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take that. That seems reasonable to me. Roll plus freak.
Yeah.
So you do it, but you need to mark a condition, or I will tell you how this is unstable or temporary.
That's a good question. Let's see if there's any condition I want. Not for this. How is it unstable or temporary?
It is absolutely temporary in the sense that you just we see a single root shoot out of the ground and like curl around it, and the shadow like writhes sideways and swings its sword-like claws, and the root gets like cut into multiple pieces. So we see you having to raise your hands, like both your hands, and like focus on it as more roots like start shooting up and like tries to contest with just sheer numbers as it keeps clawing and cutting and swiping and eventually gets caught in the crackling energy of your powers. But it is absolutely a temporary measure. You know that it's only caught here like for a brief moment before it gets loose.
Well, hopefully that gives Vigil an opening to strike it.
Does it,
Or
Vigil?
something.
As the mist clears from your vision after the impact, you become able to understand what's going on, and you see the shadow currently contesting with the entanglements of White Sparrow. Do you do something, Vigil?
Yeah, he will try, like, still keeping the hammer that he that he projected. Like, he's like, oh, I did, and he's just like jumping again and just trying to smash the thing into the ground.
I just want to go wail on it.
Just splat.
All right, roll to engage. Take +1.
Power. Okay. 1, and since I'm not looking to frighten it, I will actually pull my punches and fight. Good fight. So I can roll. Check my ability. Saber and
Our rolls today are not terribly good.
Wait. No. It added.
Yeah, looks right.
No, 'cause my saver is +2.
All right, so 5.
So 5 and +1 from the modifier. So it's
there we
6. So it's open for help.
Could I make an argument for me helping him with the thing that I already did?
Yeah, that's where the +1 is coming from.
Oh.
I have an idea. I have an idea for what I might be able to do to help. I can see through the. I mean, I can see what's happening out there, right?
Yeah, it's
And
hazy,
this,
but
and this I can see that the shadow thing is being, partly held by White Sparrow, and I'm getting incredibly frustrated in there that I can't get out and actually use my strength for anything, which means that she literally she tries to create a small localized earthquake by smashing, by hitting the ground that hard, in an attempt to unleash her powers, and that is meant to sort of knock it off its footing.
Yeah, want to like create a tremor from within the force field?
Precisely, because I mean I can't get through the force field, but the tremor would be traveling through the ground.
So regularly, I would be inclined to say that it wouldn't affect it because it's not walking on the ground; it's hovering. But I can imagine a scenario like in which we would have some like cool effect of like rocks jutting out of the ground, shaking themselves sideways and so on. Like
she makes like a fissure line almost with this shattering of the ground.
If it helps for the argument, I am trying to pin it down with roots coming from the ground.
So yeah. I think I can see this happening. This sounds like cool superhero bullshit. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
So spend a team from the pool. I'm gonna mark that.
Yeah.
And you get kicked up to 7 there, Brain. So you get a 7 on directly engaging.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to pick one.
Let me just. Well, like engage. I cannot impress, and that can be.
You can impress, surprise, or frighten the
No,
opposite.
I can't because I used the pull your to 10 fight the good fight. So
Oh, okay.
I'll create an opportunity for Sparrow to maybe finish it off, like just basically smash it well enough so it like loses the composure and help the vines like tighten around it.
Yeah, let's take a look here.
Yeah, so it's basically a create opportunity for your ally.
Let's see. Sometimes you choose this to change the actual situation so your teammate has a chance to do something they couldn't otherwise do. Other times you're just giving your teammate a boost. If it's the former, then choosing this option gives your teammate that chance. If it's the latter though, then you should add a team to the pool. Okay, cool.
So basically I'm trying to because it was fighting against the vines, so I'm basically trying to like smack it like smash it so it loses composure for a second and the vines can actually take proper strong hold.
Sure. So we see you do what you described, right? You come in, you swing the hammer down, you hit it. There's like a flash and like some kind of noise of whatever it sounds like when the Avalonian weapons hit a creature of darkness. It's like a sap and a pow, and the creature like kind of breaks apart and starts reforming. And as it does so, it kind of distends and stretches and spills over you, tearing and clawing at you. We see your clothing get like torn. We see like little streaks of blood appear on your person as you get ripped at, and then as though it was some kind of like weird rubbery tidal wave, it just like bends up and smacks you into the ground as it pours down onto you. You take a powerful blow, and as this happens, and it's in this like not fully manifested form, but just like kind of like whirling menacingly, you have a shot at entrapping it here, White Sparrow, if you can successfully do so.
Yeah, that's the question.
You have, in fact, I'm going to win tonight's unofficial contest of who comes up with one of these quotes first.
Oh, wait.
What you just did is you are laying the smack down on this guy.
Wonderful. Okay, so bad news bears here is that you get hella hit by this thing. So you take a pretty big powerful blow. What do you choose?
Yeah, I'm just give me a moment. Another advancement popped out. Take a powerful blow. Yeah. I think Finn will just get knocked out. I think, yeah, because he got hit on the head again. Yeah, he just passes out under the like pressure.
All right. So in that case, we see the series of events as described, and Finn, you crash dramatically into the ground. The ground breaks a little bit apart in a manner not dissimilar from what we just saw Diamond create with her tremor. And we have this, like over dramatic shot of the impact as the fluid shadow spills around you. But then, White Sparrow, as you behold with whatever visual reaction we see you having to your friend getting chopped up and KO'd, you have a second here to react and to throw in while the creature is entangled with Finn.
Yes, and I think, as opposed to her normal reactions, which would be, oh no, I must help. This time, she instead looks at it angrily and does a sort of crunching motion, pulling her hands together in front of her.
Like you're clutching
While
something.
while this is happening, Daniel, we, us inside should conceivably also be able to do something.
Yeah, but we shift the focus and the attention of the fight based on
Yeah, the thing
what's
is, I
dramatically
would
appropriate.
like to do something that might be of assistance to them.
You can totally try to do so, but you should tell me what that is in that case. What do you want to do?
I want to. This thing is conceivably being controlled by the women inside the inner force field, and I want to provoke them. I want them to drop the force field and have them focus their attention, including the shadow, on Diamond.
Interesting.
And she wants to do so by being quite explicit, so about what she's going to do to them if they hurt her friend. She's so it's basically using the you got a head you don't need move.
Interesting. So right now they're of course entrapped in a force field that they cannot do anything about. It seems right. There is no reason to think that they could stop Starlight from having the inner field up.
No,
in terms of
but they could drop the outer field and have the shadow focus on her.
There is certainly they might certainly be capable of that.
That's what she wants to achieve.
Yeah, let's see if you could do that because you might be able to, even though I reckon that like as we just behold the situation, there is no need for them to fear you, but you might convince them otherwise.
Exactly,
So,
because I'm planning on doing that.
Let's see. Do. All right. So, yeah. Why don't you give us a taste of what this looks like, and then we have a roll.
Well, what she does is she turns her head to look at the two in the center of the inner force field.
Yeah.
And she looks at them and she cracks her knuckles and this is right after she's hit the ground hard enough to create an earthquake, which should kind of prove to them that what she's about to say is does have some merit. And then she looks at them and she says, I can rip apart a tank without breaking a sweat. And if you hurt my friend out there, that little field that keeps you safe can be taken down very quickly, and there will not be a single bone in your bodies that I won't turn to paste.
Curious. All right. So
because I have to be explicit for this to work, I have to use use threats of obvious threats and shows of force.
Indeed. Let's see. There is a chance this could work. The reason I'm hesitant here is I'm trying to judge something on my own. Because when you provoke someone, they have to be susceptible to your words, which essentially means having influence over them. And when you provoke someone you don't have influence over, it's a judgment case of does this make sense?
Yeah.
And you know what? I suppose I will allow this. Yeah, let's roll with this. This seems like it could be fun.
All right. So I roll danger instead of superior.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Here. Oh, that's a hit.
All right. So let's see on a provocation. Stumble, air, overreact. All of these are funny. Yeah, you know what? Sure. So you say these things,
Yeah.
and they like look to you and look back, like between you and Vigil, and we focus on the red-haired witch in particular here.
Yeah.
As she says, "Huh? Will you now? I would love to see that. Then again, I suppose that you will be way too busy dealing with your friend out there now, won't you?" And she gestures, and the field doesn't dissipate, but like a gap opens in it,
Yeah.
like that you can that you can exit through.
All right.
And
Then I do.
Yeah, which is of course silly, because she could just not do that.
Yep. So I've managed to provoke her into doing something that is not to her own advantage.
Indeed. But
Right.
then like as she looks out, she's like, that's curious. That boy out there. We see like a little monologue. I don't think. No, that can't be right. Surely. And she bends down to like fidget with the bolas entrapping her friend, and she just pulls out a knife and starts cutting at the rope, and it doesn't break.
Yeah.
And she stands there stunned for a second, and she's like, "Wait, that can't be." And she looks closer. We get like a picture of her like looking at the rope up close. This is Avalonian. That boy. And she looks out, and we as she turns her head, we cut back out to you like breaking through the gap in the barrier, and White Sparrow raising her hands in defense of Vigil as
What?
he tumbles.
That's not
with
what I was doing.
Raising her hands in attack of the shadow, as it pours over Vigil. You're outside of the force field now, and you can assist meaningfully. White Sparrow, you were doing a thing. You were making a crushing motion. It sounded awesome.
Yes.
What are you
And
doing?
as she does, I think more roots shoot up, this time with barbs on them, to envelop the shadow and try to crush it as well Sparrow motioned for them to do.
That sounds dangerous. What will happen to poor Finn?
Well, he'll be ejected.
Is that how it works?
As I imagine it, the roots will, come from where they were trying to hold it down before, and kind of drag the shadow back to that space and then crush.
Oh, like grappling vines almost.
Yes.
Cool.
Cool.
So like
Yeah,
pulling
that's
it
pretty
back. Yeah, that sounds awesome. So that sounds like you're directly engaging.
Oh, I mean, where's that? I need to get more violent.
Teenage problems.
Yes.
Hey, you can take lessons from me.
Yes. Should I just roll it?
Yeah.
And then when I inevitably fail, you can always assist me now that you're outside.
Yes, that's the plan.
Oh
I
dear.
might as well not bother.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, that happened.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. No. So you do the thing. How do you help this succeed, Diamond? Because White Sparrow does it, and it successfully happens. But your help also makes it happen. So what do you do to chime in?
Well, she gets a 2.
Yeah.
It
It doesn't actually say anything about what to pick if you get a 2.
You can't see it, but I'm smiling very broadly on my end. This totally succeeds. How do you help it succeed?
I don't know. I mean, she's charging it to attack it. I mean, that's the point. She's going for it in her own right.
Yeah.
You can always help, if I'm dragging it one direction, you can punch it in that direction.
Actually,
Is
what I
that what
wanted to do
happens?
is actually what she wanted to do was do pretty much what she did with the first shadow she fought, maybe grab it by the bottom half, the tail or whatever it has, the bottom of it, and just do the whole puny god thing and slam it from side to side.
So the tail end of it is currently enveloped in thorny brambles of psychic energy, crawling up it, trying to pull it off of Finn. But it can't seem to, it doesn't seem like that works. So maybe the way you successfully make this thing happen is that you can you physically, manhandle the thing off of Finn and, extract him?
Yeah, that's the idea then.
Okay. So that's the the teamwork effort we see on the two of you, right? You get the thing off of Finn, and then your brambles can like ensnare the thing and like crush it and like entrap it perfectly. And as we see this happen, you realize, White Sparrow, that it's not enough, right? You have to more power is needed, and we see a little bit of that darkish energy blend into the otherwise whitish energy. Not intentionally, of course, but we see a little bit of it meld into it. Ooh. And we cut to inside the force field as the witch like opens her eyes in astoundment and says, "No, that can't be. The boy, and now this? It can't be. She's the catalyst. That girl. It must be. We have enough. Get up!" And she snaps her fingers, and the bowler disintegrates. And the younger witch starts like standing up, like, "We have to kill them. Enough playing around. It's time for them to die." And as she moves towards Starlight's force field, we see like this little like blackish dot appear at the end of her fingers, and she touches the force field. We see cracks starting to appear in the moat, but then she stops. She halts, and and she touches her hand to her forehead instead, in a like, and she shuts her eyes and just seems to like pause, and then she opens her eyes up. She's like, "Okay, I understand. Yes, we'll return immediately." And they look to you, Starlight. Well, they look around all of you, but the red-haired witch looks to you, Starlight, and cocks a smile and says, This is a strong barrier, kid. Well done. Well done." And then she catches fire, and her younger charge catches fire too. Black flames roil up them, and as their forms are completely enveloped by the fire dies out, and when it fades, they're not there any longer. The shadow dissipates as it gets crushed into a fine ball. There's like a little screaming sound, that just grows fainter and fainter as it gets pushed away, and like pop, and then everything grows quiet, and you're standing in. Well, the force field also abates, but you're now just standing in a slowly burning area of the park. Okay, all of you, save for Vigil, who is injured and has been temporarily knocked out.
Right. Sparrow, can you look after him?
Yes, sure. I think Sparrow was busy looking at her hands, but she goes to Vigil's side and tends to his wounds as best as she can.
Yeah. Are you trained in first aid?
Not to a major extent, more to the...
Did you pay attention in class?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So yeah, maybe we see some of that, right? Like talking to yourself or something about like what you were supposed to do and what did Mr. Macklemore say.
Do that, and then we put him like... Yeah, I think that's right.
Cool. So yeah, he's okay. He's bleeding. That's a problem that needs to stop. And he's knocked out, which is of course bad for anyone. But we also follow comic book logic, whereby we don't necessarily worry about the state of his mental health if he passes out, because people pass out when you punch them in this world.
Yes.
Comic books. It's fine.
I mean, I can probably conjure some bandages, and then he can have the classic, stylish bandages everywhere.
Yeah, band-aids fix everything. But yeah, we see you like take care of him, and we have like this little like foreground, middle ground shot of all of you attending to the situation at hand. And do we see something in particular like between the group of you before we cut away from this scene?
I think no, not from Diamond, not at this time.
Okay. What about Starlight and Finn? Well, Finn is probably KO'd, but what about Starlight? You were within the field as the witching lady decided to port out of there. You were the last person she spoke to. Do you have any particular reaction to these events? No? Okay. And nothing else to round off from White Sparrow, I suppose?
Mostly just wound treating.
All right. So it's kind of like this.
Yeah, I would just say so because it's like I my 7th advancement popped in.
Oh, cool.
And just because
when did
just
you get
because
your advancement?
I decided to go with unlocking the last 2 powers of my suite. So actually we see something from Finn, even if he's unaware of it.
So wait a minute. When did you fail a roll to earn?
My first savior roll.
Ah, yes, that's the thing, didn't it? Yeah, that was the thing that happened. I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, my first wield power roll. The savior was a success with help and conditions were.
Yes, that's the thing that happened. All right, cool. So yeah, you unlock the remainder of your power, your sweet powers.
So we actually just what we see is Finn literally changing, but not well. He's still like kind of he's still Finn, but he suddenly becomes really beautiful for some reason. Like I don't know, is there like there's some light shining, probably some effect of the dark powers and stuff like that, fighting the dark powers, and suddenly it's just he like probably like shines for a moment, like there's a light from him.
Yeah, it's totally while White Sparrow has you in her hands, right? It's
so I'm sitting there treating your wounds, touching your body, and you go, whoa, and then you're
and literally, just to quote like book describes it, it's a godlike beauty.
Yeah, what does godlike Finn? What does godlike beauty Finn look like? I imagine he's recognizable as being himself, but also a little bit different. Like, what happens? Do you grow like a shiny mullet or something? Like, what?
Yes, because mullets are so beautiful. No, I imagine it's just like it's this kind of weird when you see people like it's a different when you see people in real life and people in like television beautiful. Like there's like he suddenly loses all this kind of like I would suppose real life kind of imperfections that normal people have.
Ah, of course, I see. So this
and his skin seems like smoother. Like he's not perpetually like he's like perpetually like looks like he has very like put on like makeup and stuff like that. Like he was prepped for camera.
Yeah, you start looking like model beautiful. You go from being like teenage superhero to being Wonder Woman, right? You're like, oh, so model happens all of a sudden. Yeah, like
his muscles become more pronounced. He's like everything, like whatever. Like I will leave that to personal imagination.
Totally. So like as of this moment, the comic book artist objectifying you sexually is a plot point. That's a thing in the artwork of the comic book now.
Guys, I don't know if I should claim this as my expert first aid skills, but Finn just got prettier. Look.
One might.
He's still knocked out.
Yeah, he is in fact a almost godlikely beautiful male specimen. I mean, no accounting for taste, of course, but there's no denying it.
Diamond looks at him and says,
suddenly his cheekbones is like
he looks different. She says she sounds like she's got a very hard time focusing. Yeah, he looks different. Let's get out of here.
And
seriously, let's get out of here.
Pan away as we see you guys get out of there, as we of course become aware of sirens and other members of Halcyon City proper coming to investigate and deal with what's happening here. But instead of following you as you escape, we cut to somewhere in suburban Halcyon. Like some house, some nondescript building that we haven't seen before. As we wind up inside a living room full of like weird quiltings on the wall, dark upholstered furniture, and we see a flame like billow out of the fireplace, and then the red-haired witch and her protege step out and look upon a silhouette in the room as they say, "Why did you call us back? We had them. I'm sure of it. That boy, what he wielded was Avalonian. There's no doubt that he was one of the Vigil." And we see the silhouette turn and say, "Oh, that boy wasn't just member of the Vigil. That boy was Finnovar Pendragon, the scion of Pendragon." And both of the women react in astoundment. Ooh. "Then why didn't you... We should have killed him right there, as I said. And the catalyst, we could have taken the catalyst." And the voice again from the silhouette cuts in, and we see that we see the like a face of the silhouette, and it's of course Morrigan Le Fay, the first villain you ever fought. As she turns to these two younger witches of her coven and says, "No, you couldn't. The catalyst must be taken, but the catalyst must be taken under the right circumstances. And while the catalyst remains with a member of the Vigil, we will always know where to find her." And she cackles witchily and maniacally as we see this like scrying pool in a corner of the room that we hadn't observed before, surrounded by dark candles burning low, where we see like the ghostly images of members of the Vigil being constantly under surveillance by some kind of arcane power. And yeah, she laughs as we fade out on this eerie spectacle. And let's grab a break here, and we'll return in just a little while with more masks. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.